So today I'm listening to a tiny little piano piece by Lou Harrison, and it's also our first Lou Harrison episode, so we got to do a little bit of research. Let me pull it. Oh yeah, also it's called Reel, and it's dedicated to Henry Cowell, or homage to Henry Cowell, my mistake. I think Cowell also has a piece called Reel, and of course Cowell's famous for making clusters popular in contemporary piano music, and here we got a bunch of clusters. Um, I'm not sure what this key signature means. We have a big sharp and a big natural. I'm assuming it means we're playing all this stuff on the black keys in the right hand, and then in the right hand we are playing white keys unless otherwise indicated, because there is an A sharp there and a D sharp over here. You can do clusters on black keys alone, right? If you just think about the physics of a piano, of playing a piano. Lou Harrison died in 2003 and was born all the way back in 1917. So this is like John Cage-ish age. Like um, his lifetime is similar, you know. Uh, and he's an American composer. Initially, he wrote in a dissonant, ultra-modernist style, similar to Henry Cowell, his teacher. Later, he moved on to incorporating elements of non-Western cultures into his work, and he was really one of the founders of American Gamelan as a movement of world music, um, along with Harry Parch, Claude Vivier, who we've covered on the channel before, and Colin McPhee. Um, Interestingly, two of those four names are Canadian, but it's an American movement. There's a big paragraph about his death. I'm assuming it was sudden, likely a heart attack while en route to a festival of his own music. Um, his partner at the time was Todd Burlingame, so Lou Harrison was gay, as well as his teacher Henry Cowell. His early works for percussion instruments are made out of found objects or junk, like garbage type things. Um, Also, he wrote a number of pieces using like 12 tone. Uh, he has a lot of pieces with tack piano, which is like kind of like what Conlon Nancarrow was doing with his player pianos, inserting thumbtacks into the hammers of the piano. In general, he is a melodist. Rhythm has a significant place in his work too. Harmony is unimportant, although tonality is. He's one of the first American composers to make a successful marriage between Eastern and Western forms. That's a pretty big claim, but I think it speaks to what he was trying to do later in his career. This is also late career work, right? This is the 80s, but it might be in his older style since it's a homage to Cowell. Better known works, Concerto in Slendro. Slendro is a tuning system of Javanese gamelan, I believe. Concerto for Violin and Percussion Orchestra, Organ Concerto with Percussion, Double Concert for Violoncello and Gamelan, uh, Piano Concerto for piano tuned in Kernberger 2, which is a well temperament. I guess screenshot it here if you're curious. And Concerto for Piano and Javanese Gamelan. It makes sense that if there's this emphasis of melody in his work, that there would be a lot of concerto type works. And it seems like an interesting way of incorporating two different like traditions of like two different traditions of music because you can have the soloists and the large ensemble. And I like that he kind of flips the convention, right? Like we looked at one work which was for guzheng, oud, and orchestra, and it's was like east and west kind of thing. I think it's very played out to have the soloist as the foreign, you know, Eastern instrument, and then have an orchestra as the classical. Like he flips it here. He has pieces where it's like the gamelan is the large ensemble, and then the soloist is like a violinist or something. And I think that's pretty smart. Um, I would love to hear some of these pieces, but I think the only two scores I have of his are this piece and another piano piece from much longer ago. Yeah, link in the video description. Uh, and I'll see you in 2 minutes. Sorry, I'm talking a lot longer than the pieces today. Great. What can I say? It's really fun. I love how for like freakishly fast these huge clusters are. It must be a whole arm kind of technique. And yeah, this would be really fantastic to see played. I'm sure a lot of more conservative listeners and pianists would be like worried you're damaging the instrument. But I think that's pretty unfounded. This is very harmless stuff, obviously. And pianos are built to last. But I think a lot of people are also just when they encounter stuff like this, they're really offended by the sound of it, which sort of shapes their opinions. Um, yeah, it's fun because it's sort of like an ABA form because you have the melody in the right hand. Then there's a notable moment where there's a different melody in the left hand and a different accompaniment. Um, the accompaniment always is just something that's repeating every measure. But there's also a variety of melodies, um, which you can kind of divide the piece up with, and the same melody keeps coming back a lot. So it has this rondo element, I would say. Um, it's very simple. The accompaniment, especially, is very simple, but I think it speaks a lot to a lifetime of composing, what the composer likes, what Lou Harrison likes to write, and his influence from his first big teacher way back when. I forgot to read this paragraph in the bio, but I think it's a nice summation of him. So the majority of his works are for custom instruments or written for just intonation, making him one of the most prominent composers to have experimented with microtones. He was also one of the first composers to write in the international language Esperanto, and among the first to incorporate strong themes of homosexuality in his music. Yeah, and none of these things, which are all very interesting, none of these things are a feature of this piece. So next, I would say is a piece by, you know what, I don't know offhand. I'm gonna have to look this one up. Triadic Memories by Morton Feldman is going to take up a significant portion of my Saturday.